Welcome to the VTuber Voices podcast, friends. My name is Syafire, and I am the host of this podcast. We like to talk about what it's like to be virtual, to be a VTuber, as well as a small content creator and business owner. What are the struggles that come along with creating YouTube videos, with streaming, and how do we scale and grow our businesses so that we can be successful influencers? And today, in this episode, this is going to be a little bit different. We've done one in the past, but we don't have a specific subject we're talking about, but we'll be asking questions live from chat. I usually do question sections at the end of every podcast as well, but I'm live on YouTube right now, so everybody on YouTube can say hello, and I'm going to be letting people from YouTube chat ask questions that we'll be including in today's episode. So yeah, we're going to get started with that. So the first question is, which software do you use for tracking? So for anybody who actually sees the visual, I recently updated my model for anybody who watches me on live streams or over on YouTube. I had a model where I just used camera tracking before. I used a Logitech camera. You can find that link below, by the way, if you're looking for that. It is the webcam that I use, but now I use an iPhone 11. So you can use, I believe, an iPhone 10 and up if you want to get advanced face tracking. And I have advanced face tracking right now, and the way to get advanced face tracking, there's a few different ways, but the current way that I'm using is an app on my phone that I downloaded called iFacial Mocap. And I also I'm using iFacial Mocap, and I'm also using VCFace, which is a program you download on your computer to run your VTuber model. But in order to get full face tracking, you need to get something called AR Kit Blend Shapes. And right now, only, as far as I know, only iPhone cameras track it. There might be some cameras that track AR, not as far as I know. There might be, though. I don't want to point you guys in the wrong direction, but I use my iPhone, and my iPhone's an iPhone 11. I open the app, I have it connected via my IP address to my computer and to my phone, and it all runs through the app VCFace, and it moves my face and my head around. So that's how I have advanced face tracking. Advanced face tracking is crazy because you can do really, it's so much more, just you're able to connect with your audience so much more, but I can puff my cheeks, I can stick my tongue out, and there's so much more that you can do with it as well. Ooh, Jay Gotcha has a good question. Were you happy to show your face or nervous? So let's talk a little bit about showing your face as a VTuber. I do want to encourage and let people know that you never need to share your face. If you're uncomfortable sharing your face as a content creator, there's lots of people that have a lot of work and things that they want to share with the world, but they're scared to show their face. And that's why something super cool like becoming a VTuber was born. There's also faceless content creators that used PNG tubers or characters in the past to just kind of represent who they are as a creator. But now we have VTubers, which is a more interactive form of interacting with your audience through a virtual avatar, whether that is 2D art or 3D art. There's multiple routes you can go. So was I happy to show my face or nervous? So it was actually a huge like war for me for a really long time, Jay Gotcha. I wasn't really sure if I wanted to share my face because I know that I really want to grow my channel to 1 million subscribers and beyond. And I was very nervous because I was like, well, I think that I might regret it later. I might regret showing my face. And it was more that I was afraid of feeling regrets, not nervous to show my face, but regret for showing my face because I'd have to deal with people later once gaining more traction in the industry. So if anything, I wouldn't say I was nervous. I was more afraid of, will I regret this later? But the thing that helped me decide to show my face was because I really wanted to share the other half of myself and my full personality with my hands, with my face expressions IRL. Now, I can't say that I'll always be showing my face IRL. You know, as VTuber technology improves and we get better face tracking and full body tracking, I might not show my face anymore. It really depends how technology goes and how I'm feeling internally. So I think the most important thing it comes to when you are sharing your face is to ask yourself, is that something that you want? Don't let other people pressure you. Don't let other people make you feel like you have to do it. Even if people say face reveal or if they're making jokes, whatever. Most of the time when people are making jokes like that, they're usually younger people who don't really understand that what they're saying can actually hurt the person's feelings. I would say do what makes you most comfortable. And honestly, there's VTuber, like I show my face on my channel and there's still plenty of people that don't know what I look like. And they're like, when are you going to do a face reveal? I'm like, I literally show my face on my channel. What do you mean? Like my face is in my banner. So there's lots of people who don't, like, even if you show your face a little bit, they still might not know what you look like unless like they really dig for it. So that's something else you can think about too. KZ Production asks, what is more viable? Plenty of short videos or fewer long videos for YouTube, of course? That's going to depend on your content and what you're creating, crazy, because every content creator creates different types of content. So as an educator, for me, I can benefit from both short form and long-term content because I can do long form, because I can do very long tutorials that are step-by-step where I walk you through, and I can also do short form. Here are 5 tips. So there are multiple ways to cut it into short and long, no matter what niche you're in. What's more viable? I don't think there is an option that is more viable. I guess if I were to choose one, I would probably say fewer longer videos, personally, because that's what I prefer. Not because I actually think it's better, but because I prefer doing long form content. So that's something else you'll need to figure out as a content creator as well. Do you prefer making short form content or long form? Do you like TikTok? Do you like Twitter? What platforms are you using a lot? What do you like? So if you like TikTok, you might be a better short form content creator. But if you really enjoy things like YouTube or Twitch, you might be a better long form content creator. Again, for what's more viable, I think it can depend on your niche and the strategy and the way you want to grow your channel. So I'd have to know like more about your channel to really answer that specifically for you. But personally, I enjoy fewer longer videos rather than short. But that strategy is not going to work for everybody. Kitsune Yumi says, do you have any pets? Yes, I have 2 pets. I have a cat named Cosmo and a cat named Luna. Do you think anybody hates you? You know, yeah, I'm sure there's people who do hate me. When you decide to put yourself online, when you decide to take a stance in anything in life, there's always going to be people who stand against you. There's always going to be people on the other side of the fence disagreeing with what you do, no matter how good the deed is. Like if you are literally rescuing and like sheltering animals, people will still come up with things and say, well, you shouldn't be messing with the population like that because it's the circle of life and you shouldn't be messing with the pot. There's always going to be people who are literally saying things to discourage you from what you're doing. Do I think anyone hates me? Sure. Do I care? No, because those are the people that I don't support and I don't need to help. Will I show them grace if they show up in my chat? Yes, I will. But if they like step on my boundaries or cause problems, they'll be banned or they'll just be kicked out of the community, right? What else? Reed says, what else do you do other than VTuber asset tutorials? Like, do you stream games or drawing? Yeah, so I do lots of creative streams. I mostly do creative streams. I started out as a concept artist or a game developer with a focus in concept art. I was going to school for concept art and graphic design for a little while until VTubing and content creation really picked up for me. Now I'm a full-time content creator. So lots of my hobbies before doing streaming as a full-time career right now is drawing, art, graphic design, and music. I play the guitar and I sing. You can also find some music videos on my YouTube channel. Yeah, so as far as like other things that I do, I stream games every once in a while, like if we do celebration streams. But as far as drawing, yep, I used to do lots of drawing on stream. I still do some, but most of the time I'm just trying to get more editing or content stuff done on stream now. But I used to draw lots of characters or do digital paintings that were things that were usually supporting the homework I had to get done for school. Like last year I did a whole bunch of these digital painting cube studies for my digital art class. So Warden says, any advice for a brand new YouTuber? For a brand new YouTuber, my biggest advice is to just start posting things. Even if you're not really sure like what you want to make yet, you don't have to have the perfect idea fleshed out. I would rather have you experimenting and posting something than posting nothing at all. When you're a new YouTuber, it's really important to just experiment and figure out what kinds of videos you actually like making. And that's one of the phases where you can figure out, do I like making short form content? Do I like making long form content? Do I enjoy making videos about cooking? Do I enjoy making videos about drawing? Or am I an educational YouTuber? Am I an entertainment YouTuber? Am I a combo of those things? So again, it's really important to be a creative when you first start. Start messy and organize the chaos later. Really just experiment and try new things. Follow what feels right then, and something will eventually pick up for you. You do want to choose a niche eventually because you don't want to be scattered. Really, you don't want to have a really confusing scattered channel, but when you're starting out, I would encourage you to have a confusing scattered channel because you need to figure out what works for you, and the only way you're going to figure that out is by posting. You're not going to figure anything out. The best way to learn is through experience. You're not going to figure anything out by keep like sitting there and guessing and being like, I wonder if I'd be a good cooking channel. I wonder if I'd be a good VTuber. I wonder if I would do a good job doing a hiking channel. Maybe I'll try an art channel, but I don't know if that's gonna work. So no, just like start posting videos, choose some interests and hobbies and start making videos on them and see how that goes. So that's my best advice for a new YouTuber, is just start. All right, The Legit Gaming says, I'm very nervous to make my character public. Where do you find your character inspiration? If you're nervous to make your character public, I would recommend looking into getting an LLC. I don't know what country you live in, or getting something to be able to protect your avatar. So once you put your character out there, you want to create something that whatever your equivalent to like starting a business is where you live, I would recommend doing that to help protect your character. Where do I find my character inspiration? Usually Pinterest and through other artists. ArtStation and Pinterest are two of my favorite resources to find character inspiration. Marky Joy has a question. Marky says, I've been struggling with coming up with content. Any recommendations for how to come up with more ideas? I do have recommendations for coming up with more ideas, and that is to think of who your ideal audience is. Who is the person that you are trying to reach? For me, I'm trying to reach VTubers, artists, game developers. VTubers. So you have to ask yourself, what kinds of things are these people looking for? Because 80% of people that use YouTube, I think it's either 70 or 80% of people that use YouTube use it to find an answer. So is there anything that you can answer that's in your specific niche? Is there something that you're doing? Is there a question that you can answer that you have knowledge about? Well, just gaming is very low. Oh, you're saying just gaming, just entertainment? Yeah, because entertainment alone is not really a great value add in this current day and age, Otter. So hopefully that helps you, Marky. CrewFam says, I want to become a 3D VTuber in the future. Any tips? Yep, be consistent and just start posting. Jetto or a bit says, for how often do you suggest streaming on Twitch as a VTuber or in general? They'll be able to maintain a steady and stable viewership. Everybody is going to be different, Jetto. Everybody's going to be different. So if you have if you're in a really busy season of life, like if you just literally had kids, or you had your very first kid, or you are in school, you're going to college, depending on what you have going on, make it sustainable for you. That's going to look different for every single person that's listening here. It's going to be different. So really evaluate, what season of life are you in? Can you really go all in on streaming or on YouTube right now? Or do you have to take a little bit of a back seat? And it's okay if you need to only stream 1 day a week, but making it sustainable is more important than running and crashing yourself into the ground and burning yourself out. In fact, the most successful people across time have found ways to have sustainable success rather than crashing and burning themselves and running themselves into the ground. So it's very important for you to both take breaks and to work hard on things. So if you are to the point where you can't stream a lot without taking a break, you need to include breaks. So make sure you create a sustainable schedule for yourself. That might be once a week, that might be multiple times a week. So Jetto, that's going to be something you're going to figure out. If you have a lot going on, maybe it's less. If you don't have a lot going on, consider doing maybe 3 days a week. I started with doing 3 days a week while I was in school, while I was going to college, and 3 days a week was great for me. And you might have to adjust that depending on the season of life you're in. Kira says, do VTubers need to have at least 1 or 2 live streams? You don't need to stream at all. If you're a VTuber, you could just create content, you could just create Twitter posts and be a VTuber technically. Thorn says, how would you rank the importance of different parts of a brand? The avatar itself, your color scheme, the type of content, name, which part can be easily swapped out. So Thorntail, content is king, period. It doesn't even matter. Your branding could be trash, but content is king. Your content has to be good, because if your content is good, you can sacrifice quality. There are several, or not quality of content, but quality of visuals and stuff. But if the content of what you are literally saying and presenting is good, that is the best case scenario. There are plenty of YouTubers who have got thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of views on videos that are literally terrible, like visual quality, but the content is good and they get the answer they need. So content is number 1. The most important part. Number 2, I would say brand probably comes in line next. So content, so content is king, marketing is queen. I would say branding goes hand in hand with marketing. So I would say branding would technically be number 2. So focus on quality content first, if that's something you could focus on, and then you can update your brand, your avatar, your color scheme. Those things are all very important and they only support. But if you don't have good content, doesn't matter how beautiful a trash bag looks if there's literally trash inside, right? So again, it doesn't matter how good a restaurant looks on the outside if you go in and their food tastes horrible. So the food has got to taste good. You know how many times you've probably gone to restaurants where you're like, man, their branding is trash, but this food is really good. You'll still go to that restaurant. But if the restaurant looks really cool, but the food tastes terrible, you're not going to go there. So kind of consider that analogy for when you're creating your content and what's most important. That's a really good question, Thorn. Queen says, Syafire, what inspired you to start YouTube? What inspired me to start YouTube is I've always loved creating. I love doing film. I love writing music. I love drawing. I love everything to do with creativity. So what inspired me to start a YouTube channel really was that I was streaming on Twitch for 4 to 5 years, and I really wanted to continue to expand my influence. So I figured I'd start posting YouTube videos. I actually started posting speed paints and mural painting videos on my YouTube channel. And then I post a how to become a VTuber video. That was just something I tried because I told you guys, I was experimenting. And that video popped off for me and it helped me find a niche that I really liked. That includes art, 3D modeling, 2D art, as well as marketing and content creation. So it's really a giant mix of all the things I really enjoy. But what largely inspired me was just seeing other people create. Always inspires me. That's my biggest inspiration, is when I see something else made that's really beautiful. I'm like, I gotta make something really cool and beautiful. Space Bunny says, what mic do you use? Currently, I'm using the Stellar X2. You can find a link for it in the description if you're interested. This is an X, I forget what it's called. I forget the name of it exactly. I'm not an audio buff technically, but I use the Scarlett audio box. So it's an audio interface, and my Stellar X2 is connected. You can't get a Stellar X2 alone. You must have an audio interface to connect it to, because this is not a USB mic. It's the other kind of mic, but I forget what it's called. It's not USB. It has to plug into audio interface. It's a different type of cord. So if you want to find any of that information, that's all in the description below, Space Bunny. Crewfam says, I want to become a content creator. Any personal tips? If you want to become a content creator, the tips that I have for you is to be consistent, try new things. Don't be upset if you don't get views right away, because you have to be willing to find yourself first. And then also find a platform that you like and be active there. So whether that's YouTube or TikTok or Twitter, find your favorite and start posting consistently there. Kitsune says, what is your favorite color and what? My favorite color is periwinkle, and that is pretty much the color of my hair, which is like a light bluish purple. And I love periwinkle because it makes me feel very calm, and it makes me feel inspired. It makes me feel both calm and inspired because it's very soft. It's not like overwhelming on the eyes, but it's also just like such a brilliant color. It's so pretty. I just really like periwinkle. Stella says, how long have you been doing YouTube? I started YouTube. I've always posted YouTube videos throughout the years, but I didn't really start YouTube until about a year ago. And it's been about a year. Yeah, maybe a year and like 2 months. I've been on YouTube for a year. Space Bunny says, how would you VTube with just Instagram? Is that possible? My computer is not great. Okay, so as far as you can be a VTuber, guys. Being a VTuber, you don't have to you don't even have to post content really. Like, you could literally just have like an avatar, I would say. You could post anywheres. With Instagram, maybe you would just take cute photos and pretend like the Instagram is like your VTuber's life or something like that. So yeah, you can. You just have to think about a creative way to approach that. Okay, so Murdoch says, what helps me the best with the public speaking aspect of streaming? Public speaking, when I live stream, it's a lot different than being in front of like physical people. Like, I know you guys are here, but it doesn't feel like it feels like I'm talking to myself kind of. So I honestly, it doesn't make me that nervous. There are times like where I get nervous, but most of the time I don't, I guess. But as far as for what helps me with the public speaking aspect of streaming, I guess I'm just really passionate and I always have a lot to say. So it always came really naturally for me. Soren says, are there any types of content that you personally feel too many VTubers are sleeping on? Content that VTubers are sleeping on? Yeah, honestly, tons of stuff. I think we really even haven't seen like the beginning of what VTubers can do. Because if you look at things like what AI Angel does and what Codemiko has done, there's so much potential for VTubers to actually take their branding to the next level. Like the fact that you can create a literal whole world and brand and like lore and story and character, there is so much potential and people just haven't taken it that way yet. So yes, I think VTubers are sleeping on a lot, but it depends on what types of content they're making. So yes, the answer is yes, but I couldn't tell you exactly what. It depends on the VTuber. Madeline Blue Star says, hi Syafire, I love your content. It's so inspiring. I'm going to start streaming with a MacBook. Since Mac isn't the most powerful, do you have advice for affordable PCs for 2D VTubing and gaming? It's a good question. I'm excited for you to start VTubing, Madeline. I don't know if you say your name Madeline or Madeline, but hopefully I said that right. But as far as affordable PCs, I would say to probably take a look at something like Next. It's called, I think it's NZXT Next. They have a whole section where you can kind of fill out like what you want to do, and they'll give you a recommendation of a PC based off of that. But if you really want to have the most affordable PC, the best thing to do would probably be to educate yourself on how to build PCs and then build your own PC. But that's going to take a lot of time for you to learn. So if you're looking for like a website, I would say NZXT Next. You guys says, how much should one and how much do you spend on researching which topics people are looking for? When I started, I spent a lot of time researching. I don't spend as much time researching now because I kind of have a general understanding of what people need because of live streaming. People always come in and ask, but research is honestly really important. Like spending a lot of time on research, I think is very, very valuable. I research before pretty much every single YouTube video that I do. Pretty much every single YouTube video I do research. And how much time should you spend on researching? It depends on the video subject. If it's something you can answer quickly and cover quickly, like if you're just starting to put YouTube videos out, I'd say answer with the knowledge you already have. But if there's longer term projects you're trying to do, you can spend time researching while working on those longer videos. Like there's a process I had for a while where I'd have quick video ideas, like ones that I could do without a lot of research. And then I had long-term projects, which were ones that I did while working on the quick videos. So I'd have like long videos in queue. I'd call it my long queue and my short queue. And sometimes I'd have have a few short Q videos ready to go while I was working on multiple long-term projects. So like my Is VR Worth It? That was a super long interview process where I had to schedule time with other creators, and that was a long-term project that I kept in the back end. I was always working on that video while working on other videos. And same thing for my music videos. I'm usually working on music videos while working on other YouTube videos. So, because that's just a lot of footage that I have to collect, right? So whether it's footage or research, you can sort of have like a long queue, short queue type of thing. That's what I do. Melodia says, I'm thinking of streaming soon. Gotta fix the issues with my VTuber facial expressions. She doesn't do emotes at all. That's okay. That's the type of thing I would say, though. Don't let that stop you from not creating content. Like, just because your VTuber's having expression problems doesn't mean you should not stream. You know what I mean? Too many people get caught up in this like idea of everything must be perfect before I click the go live button. No, literally just start and upgrade as you go. I mean, you don't want to be completely clueless, of course, but prepare yourself a little bit, but you don't need to over-prepare yourself either. Thorntail says, what was the process for creating the Syafire character when you first decided to become a VTuber? So Syafire was actually born a long time ago. When I started streaming, since I've been streaming for like 4-ish years, I actually created Syafire long ago. There was one stream where I was like, yo guys, we need a stream mascot. Her name is Syafire, because that's my name. Let's come up with one. And I literally drew her on stream and let everybody decide. I drew like multiple versions of her with different types of hair and different types of eyes, and people were like, I like that one. So I let the community actually vote on the beginning origins of what Syafire looked like. For actually coming up with her as a VTuber, I literally just based it off of my emotes and kind of took my own spin. Like when I downloaded VRide Studio, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna put something together that looks cute. That's sort of how it developed. As far as like branding and language and like Syafire being a part of the Syafire star and the sparkles and magical, again, all of it just developed over time. I didn't like sit down and craft out everything perfectly before doing it. It's all stuff that started to develop on its own, and that's just kind of how I work as a creator. Some people really need to plan it out. For me, I'm really, really good at going on the fly and developing things as I go. And I know that strategy doesn't work for everybody, but for me, it really does. If I sit down and try to plan everything out perfectly, I'm never gonna do anything. I'll just keep trying to make it better and better until I don't post it ever. When I first developed Syafire as a character, it was developed by the community, and then she just sort of grew throughout time based off of that. And I want to do a redesign now that I have a clear idea of what she looks like, because she is not in the image of now where I want to take her. It took me a while to figure out what that branding was, though. Like, I didn't know I was going to be a creative leader that was inspiring other artists to be streamers, be content creators, or sell their work or monetize their work as creators. So that's not something I figured out until later, and now I have a clear idea, and I might even change that again in the future. And I just keep making little shifts. In fact, I literally just changed my my Syafire brand name. I just changed the font of it again because I didn't like the font that I just rebranded it to, and that's fine because I'm moving it closer to what she's supposed to be, right? I'm moving it closer to what she's supposed to be. And like everybody made a big deal out of it. Like when I switched to this avatar, it was like, oh my God, Saya, new avatar. And I was like, yeah, hi. I mean, like I didn't plan a whole thing for it because I don't care. Like as a creator, I just want to start creating. I don't want to put all this pressure on myself for it to either be amazing or to fall flat. And I just want to create. I just want to create fearlessly, and I just want to put things out there and see what happens. I don't need to make it perfect. I don't need, like, again, I'm going to try to develop courses and systems to help other people with that. But for me, I'm very much in the game of I'm just going to trip and stumble and let myself fall, but then I'll find tools and things that'll help me get up and put on better gear and equip a better armor to deal with what's coming towards me. Very long-winded answer to your question, Thorn, but it all kind of connects. Rise of Anik, welcome in. Rise of Anik says, do you think having a dual persona from the start in 2 models would hurt branding? No. Again, like I said, when you're starting, just experiment. You don't need to put a lot of pressure on yourself to have something perfect. You'll figure out what you like as you go. You got to follow your heart, and like it's a feeling type of thing. It's a feeling thing that you can only figure out by taking the leap. Crazy says, your avatar started out as a community choice. Dang, that's pretty cool. Yes, she did. Hi, so I have a question. May the quality of a VTuber mascot character's model either attract or repulse people from your content? Yes, I think quality is important. Do I think quality should stop you from starting? No. Is quality important? Yes. So if you're struggling to start, just start no matter what your model quality is like. If you have a not great model quality, you should be starting to focus on how you can upgrade your quality, whether that's hiring an artist or learning more tools yourself, but don't not start, right? So the quality can definitely affect, because it goes back to branding and visuals, because you are not going to want to go somewhere where something looks really terrible. I mean, you might go there anyways, but one of the strongest parts of being a VTuber definitely is the visuals. Like your visuals will help pull in people because it is your branding. Like that is something that that is what you're displaying yourself as. Like, that is the outside of your restaurant. Jetto says, hi again, Syafire. Recently, my friend just got inspired by your comment last time I asked regarding silent VTubers, as he's been planning for months to stream as well. His point of struggle, aside from a slight anxiety, was finding a character that'll represent him most. Yeah, absolutely. As he's not confident in his drawing skills, though I think he's really good. I was hoping you can help him in some way. So honestly, like I said, tell him just start, and he can start working on making small adjustments to his character. I feel the same way with my character. Like, I don't know if I fully feel this Syafire yet. So that's why I'm developing a new Syafire, and that is okay. It's okay to not have it perfect right now. In fact, I'm hoping to develop some sort of course to help VTubers design characters from scratch, design branding, all that stuff. I want to start building something out like that. It's going to take a lot of time. I don't know exactly what it looks like, but that's what I'm going to be moving towards after working on more stuff for my VTuber clothing shop, the Sapphire Star Boutique. Alstar says, I have a question. How long did it take you to learn to rig in Live 2D? It took me 3 days. Like 3 days, because I was really focused on wanting to learn. And I learned in that 3 days, and then I took a break, and then I visited again, and that's when I did my Live 2D series, which is on this YouTube channel. But it took a lot of hard work with the 3 days that it took me, and I still don't know everything. But 3 days to like learn the basics and get a working model. Thank you guys so much for listening to the VTuber Voices podcast today. Lots of good questions. Really happy that I can help assist you guys with all the thoughts you've been having. If you have any thoughts or you have questions you want to ask me live, make sure you tune in. We usually record the VTuber Voices podcast live on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube. 10 a.m. on my YouTube channel. So if you're listening to this elsewhere and you want to ask questions live, that's a great chance to ask. You can also email me if you can't catch the live stream at sapphireVT@gmail.com, and I can answer your question on the live stream. So thank you so much for listening, guys. I hope that you got value out of this episode. Consider supporting me over on YouTube if you haven't already, or any of my other platforms. Have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you next time on the Sapphire Star. Goodbye.